How to deal with adversity in business. You know what? I've got 35 years of experience and holy smokes have I been through a lot of adversity. We're going to talk a little bit about it. I'm going to give you 7 specific things you can do to get through it. And if you stick with me all the way to the end, I got a special gift for you. Right on. As entrepreneurs and business owners, we know that if we have a clear plan, anything becomes possible. And if you can have a clear plan, a clear process to create that plan, and a way to create clarity with your partner or spouse, you can drive to amazing heights. All right, so you're dealing with some adversity in business, and that's why you're looking this up. Oh, dude, holy shit, the world's exploding or something bad is happening. Well, the first thing I want to guarantee, even if you feel incredibly alone, you are not. This is something that every entrepreneur on the planet has gone through and experienced. In fact, it's one of the really silly questions that I ask when I'm talking to somebody and I want to see, are they truly an entrepreneur or are they an operator who's been in big business and they think they're an entrepreneur? And the question is, hey, tell me about a time you failed or you faced adversity. Well, the true business or the big business person is gonna be like, oh, well, him and ha, blame it, push it off. The true entrepreneur is gonna be like, oh my God, let me tell you about this. It was a total shit show. I got my ass handed to me and I got clobbered, but oh, I learned so much out of it. So the first thing I want you to feel is like, look, it's cool. You're not alone. Other people are going to be experiencing this. You're on your own. You're not on your own with this. So that in and of itself sometimes makes people feel a hell of a lot better and it's not nearly scary. The second thing is no matter what happens, good, bad, and different, you're gonna learn from this and it's gonna make you a better entrepreneur. And then the third thing is, I promise, no matter how hairy it may seem, no matter how weird or uncomfortable it is, there are very, very few extinction events in this world. You know, the likelihood that the sun is still gonna rise tomorrow, that the wind will blow, little kids will smile, everything is still gonna be cool. So just take a breath and take a step back when you're dealing with that heavy adversity. Now, when you have these challenges, and trust me, I've had them, holy shit, how am I gonna have payroll, people making bad decisions, people doing things, and all, you name it, I've been through it. So the first though, is don't get into that reactionary mode. For a lot of entrepreneurs like me, I started my first of 16 companies when I was 19. We end up going way deep in the weeds and we want to like go and solve and fix shit. And that is the worst thing to do right now. Just take a step back and breathe, even if it's only for an hour. Get rid of your phone, go for a walk around the block and start thinking about this. But if you're in total reactionary mode, you're probably going to make worse decisions. So this is where you need to let's stop, take a step back, say, what is really the root issue that I'm solving? What is the root problem? What are the pros and cons of this? Is this an extinction event for the business? Or is this a giant pain in the ass? Okay, but this is where just taking that time to step back and breathe, number 1. Number 2, define the outcomes that you would find ideal. Okay, we have this and it's a mess. Fair enough. What can we do about it? If I could wave a magic wand, knowing that under these parameters, what would amazing look like? And really genuinely figuring out and document where do I want to end up with this? What is the ideal outcomes from these? Now, this is going to pivot as you learn more, depending on what your issue is. But you can start figuring out, okay, what is the outcome we want to achieve? But this helps you actually start creating a mental state that's going to allow you to drive towards that success rather than reacting to bad, negative things that are happening. Now, the third thing is to start thinking about who can help you. Who can help, not how do I do this? You're not alone. Remember, we talk a lot about in my book, the Aspiring Solopreneur, how you build a great team of advisors. Team of advisors is usually going to be your small business accountant, your small business attorney, your small business banker, small business insurance agent, maybe a couple others. But within that group, if you're facing adversity, well, you've got confidentiality agreements already with them. Reach out and say, hey, I'm in this problem, I'm trying to deal with this. Have you seen this before? And I almost guarantee they're gonna giggle a little bit and say, yeah, don't worry, we can get through this. Or, ooh, that's gonna sting, but we can handle this. It's gonna help you understand what it really looks like. So what is where that is, and say, well, I think that this is maybe the outcome we should go after, and say, okay, understand that, but how about this? And that's where being curious and really trying to understand what they're thinking is going to help you with that. Now, once you start to do this, whatever you do, if you have big points of adversity, don't blow it off. I can't believe how often people are like, oh, this shit's freaking me out, so I'm just gonna stick my head in the sand. It's like, oh my God, you're gonna get clobbered. The IRS doesn't care. Your employees certainly wanna get paid. If somebody's suing you, they don't care. You can't stick your head in the sand. So you're gonna have to build a plan and say, hey, how can I be proactive with this? And again, what are the steps? So we've defined what success looks like, backing into it. We've gotten some strategic advice from people we trust. And it doesn't necessarily even have to be your advisors if you know other people in the industry. Hey, have you had this experience? That's gonna then help you to back into figuring out, no, what is it I really need? Where do I really wanna go with this? What does amazing look like? Build that plan on how you're gonna achieve it. Now, number 5, now if this is confidential and you're at the top, you're the owner, maybe you've got a big team, maybe you have a small team, you've gotta figure out some way that you can be ruthlessly but compassionately accountable. If you need to file and get those things out there and do whatever it is you do, you have to execute that plan with ruthless but compassionate accountability. And if you're not the strongest at that and you're alone, then find somebody to help you with that. Pay your attorney or your accountant. I know that stings. That way you'll get the shit done. But make sure it gets done if you genuinely have adversity. We're not sticking our head in the sand. So the next thing, and this one is going to sound hard, but it's to let it go. Do what you can and then let it go. I used to be the king of worrying about shit. I would get so wrapped around the axle, I would start worrying about all this stuff that I couldn't control. And then I would actually go and deal with it, and wasn't that bad. Or it sucked a little bit, but it was, I spent 90% of my energy worrying and getting wrapped around the axle with all this other shit. You do the best you can, you go into it, you lay it out, and you let it go. I used to freak out if I got a letter from the IRS. I still have 6 companies. I'd be like, oh God, IRS. Well, I just take a picture of it. I don't even read it. I send it to my accountant and say, hey, if I need to do anything, let me know. Because I found out that 70% of those are sent in error. But going back to this, I was coaching a gentleman who's a former Navy SEAL commander. And he told me a saying that they had in the teams that I really liked was, don't endure any pain until it happens. Don't endure any pain until it happens. I was enduring pain left and right with worry and all this other stuff. But you go through, you stop reacting, define what's possible, define where you want to go, think about who can help you, not how, build a plan, execute with ruthless but compassionate accountability. You know what, let it go. Whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. If you spend 1 ounce of energy worrying, it's not gonna help you. And then the last thing is when it's done, embrace that you've been through that and figure out, do a postmortem. What did I learn? Boy, I shouldn't do this again. Okay, good. Now, maybe, yeah, I should do this. It was the right decision, but it was the way we executed it wasn't right. Or we wanna make sure that we avoid outcome bias versus decision bias. But do a healthy review to say, hey, what did we learn from this and how can we do it better in the future? Now, let me hit this last thing on the idea of outcome bias versus decision bias. This is something I see a lot, is people will go through and they've had lots of experiences. A lot of senior entrepreneurs have this issue. It's like, yeah, well, okay, well, what about this? How can we handle this? And I'll be like, yeah, we tried that in the 80s and whew, that was the dumbest thing we ever did, and man, we're never doing that again. Well, I often challenge that thinking, because like if I were to ask you, whoever's watching this video, what was the best decision you made during COVID? You're likely not to tell me the best decision, you're likely to tell me what was the best outcome. You may have made great decisions, but for some reason, luck, shutdowns, all these other things just completely clobbered it. And if you say, okay, well, actually, no, those were good decisions, but we got clobbered by luck, or we didn't execute right, or was the wrong person. So make sure you have an objective review of what you've done here. What did we learn? Were these the right decisions or were these bad decisions? Or was this the wrong execution? Did we have the wrong people? Did we just get clobbered by time? Sometimes those things happen, but when you do that as an entrepreneur, that's where you're really earning your spurs, cowboy talk. that means that that's when you're really starting to figure out who you are. And you get those battle scars that say, now I know, and I'm going to get stronger. These are amazing, beautiful opportunities if you look at them in the right way. Okay, so you stuck with me all the way to the end. Right on, right on. I have a course that I love, I think is incredibly valuable, and I would encourage you, I will give it to you for the first 5 people who send me an email at k@entadv.com. You send it to me, I'll give you the course for free. All I'm looking for is if you find value in that course, please give us a really positive review and talk us up to your friends and tell everybody on the planet. All right, there we go. If you enjoyed this, cool. Subscribe, check out some of the other channels. If you have questions, let us know. Keep smiling.